An investment theme is really one of two things. It can be a growing part of the economy, where we identify a part of the economy that is growing and we look at the entire value chain that benefits from that. Or it can be a troubled situation where there's an industry or region that is in the process of restructuring itself, and therefore there are businesses available within that region or industry available at very low prices. The financial industry has gone through the mill. We all know this. We've seen the subprime crisis in the US, we've seen the sovereign debt crisis in Europe, and the industry is in the process of a massive restructuring. And we think within that restructuring, there is a viable industry. There is a viable industry. Finance has always been part of the world economy. We think it will be part of the world economy going forward. It will be smaller, leaner, more efficient. But fundamentally, there is very deep value within many organizations. Many have already gone away, many more will still go away. But we think there are winners, and the winners will emerge stronger, leaner, and more profitable, most importantly for us. Well, we own a number of banks and insurance companies across the world, but predominantly in Europe, because we think that's where the most value is. This industry has changed beyond recognition since 2007. It is better capitalized, it has better loans and lending criteria, better underwriting criteria if you look at the insurance company. And we think that is generally not perceived to be the case. We think people still think the banks are terrible, making bad loans, too geared, and so on and so forth, while the truth is slightly different. And we try to own the best quality banks and insurance companies that we can find. We think that we never know when the cycle is going to turn again, and if you have the ones that are the most conservatively run, such as BNP Paribas, then you will do well whatever the cycle does. And if we look a bit about BNP Paribas, just to give you an idea of how conservative some of these banks are, they've not had a single annual loss throughout this crisis, despite being French, in the Eurozone, having a little bit of Greek exposure, not a single annual loss. Sure, they had 1 quarter of losses, just one, and it wasn't very significant, but that gives you an idea of the quality inherent in this bank. ING is a very interesting bank. I mean, we all know what happened in the early 2000s, where they created ING Direct, and they suddenly had this flood of money, which they did not know what to do with. So they invested it in bond portfolios, and they spread across Europe, and then they went to the US. And the US, they again got a flood of money because ING Direct was such a powerful magnet, and they had the secret sauce that it was needed to take deposits. And they had to, because of US rules, make investments in mortgages. And of course, they were a little bit too greedy and bought subprime mortgages. They thought they were buying good quality AAA one, but we know what happened to that. And as a result, they had to be bailed out by the government and told to tear the organization apart, sell the US operations, sell the Asian operations, split the bank and insurance company. And we really looked at it and we thought this is a huge opportunity to create vast amounts of value. So we bought a huge amount of ING when this process was going on. And that has largely played out, not entirely. They still have to split the bank and the insurance, but the US is gone, Asia is gone, and now they're in the process of splitting the bank and insurance company. And of course, the share price has rallied from 5 to 9 euros. It will probably go to 12 euros. But we think that's a great self-help story. It's not that it was a bad bank, they just did one terrible, very costly mistake. As we know, Spain had a significant property bubble which burst with dramatic impact on both the economy and the banking sector. Interestingly to us, the government has been very proactive about enacting labour reforms and recapitalising its banking sector. As a result, we can see now that the economy has stabilised and is growing again. And of course, the banking sector is now sound and very well capitalised. The most interesting bank to us within this consolidated banking sector is CaixaBank, which used to be a savings and loans owned by a charitable organization and is being gradually transferred to the public market ownership. We think it's fundamentally a very good turnaround story of self-help, and also it is consolidating the market and is taking out costs. As a result of that, I think the most interesting thing is that its new business is exceedingly profitable. It has a large back book to still work on, but the new business is exceedingly profitable. So we think 5 years from now, CaixaBank will be probably one of the most profitable banks in Europe and is already one of the best capitalized.